I want to tell you a story about my brother. And don't laugh at the picture. It's really old. It's taken way back in the 1900s. We were born twins, just moments apart. From the moment we took our first breaths, we were inseparable. Taken after our dad, we grew up die-hard Toronto Maple Leafs fans. Our days were filled with rollerblading, mini sticks, driveway basketball, and just about any sport you can think of. Our imaginations were as big as our ambitions. We saw ourselves one day playing in the NHL, putting on that Maple Leafs jersey. I was the dreamer. My brother, our protector. I had the big ideas. My brother, our rock, always there to keep us grounded and safe. We were the perfect team. As we entered our teenage years, our competitiveness grew stronger. We pushed our limits on the ice, started off-ice training, lifting weights, running hills, anything we could do to get that competitive edge. I believed in our potential. I knew that if we worked hard, developed our skills, and stayed disciplined, we'd be successful. But with my brother, I started to notice a subtle shift in his mindset. He began to say things like, the odds of becoming a pro athlete are really small. There's a lot of guys out there who are a lot better than us. By the time we reached university, we began to develop a new passion for business and entrepreneurship. We felt called to business because it felt a lot like sports. It was fast, competitive, strategic, and creative. We became obsessed, devouring business books, articles, and just about every episode of Shark Tank and Dragon's Den. I believed in our potential. I knew that if we worked hard, practiced our skills, and stayed disciplined, we could also be successful in business. But my brother's self-doubt only deepened. He began to say things like, entrepreneurship is tough. Most businesses fail. We should pick a safe career, one that pays well, has great benefits. He began to fear failure before we even started. After graduating university, we had the opportunity to go traveling in Southeast Asia and Australia. We immersed ourselves in new cultures, excited to live in the moment before returning home to pursue our calling, a career in entrepreneurship. But my brother couldn't escape his inner self-doubt. The uncertainty of the future weighed heavily on him. He didn't want to fail. I'll never forget a conversation we had while watching the sunset in Vietnam. "You've changed," he said to me. "I feel like you're outgrowing me, like you don't need me anymore." I said, "What are you talking about? You're my best friend. You're my brother. You're my protector. We're in this together." And I'll never forget what he said next. He said, "I feel like from this point forward, you should go on without me." I felt overcome with a mix of emotions because deep down, I knew that he was right. My twin brother, my best friend, my closest companion, my protector, my rock, was coming to the realization that at this point on, I was better off without him. And in that moment, I made the difficult decision to move forward without my brother. Now, some of my best friends are in the audience here today. I can't see where you guys are sitting, but I know you're here. And you're probably pretty confused right now because the truth is, I never had a brother. Now that I've told you this story, allow me to properly introduce myself. My name's Martin DeSouza, and I'm an entrepreneur who spent the last 10 years immersed in the personal development industry, producing podcasts, books, events, and courses for some of the most successful and accomplished personal development and entrepreneur thought leaders that you may know. These are New York Times best-selling authors. These are Olympic gold medalists, people with millions of followers, and one entrepreneur who sold his business for $200 million. We're here today at TEDx to celebrate the topic of change. We all want change. We all want to become something greater. And let me tell you, that's exactly what the personal development industry is all about. It's the change industry. Having spent time in this industry, working in this industry, I've had the pleasure of getting to observe some of the most successful and accomplished people on earth. People who have changed. People who have become something greater. And I've had the opportunity to learn from them And what I've discovered has profoundly changed my life. And I'm hoping that today it might change yours as well. You see, we often think that in order to change, in order to become something greater, we have to seek something, chase something, or pursue something. We're all constantly thinking we need to learn a new skill, or earn an amount of money, or get a new job, or maybe win something. But what I found is that's not where real change begins. Here's what I've discovered. The universe is doing its best to bring you the change that you desire for yourself, to help you become who you're meant to become. Rather than constantly seeking, chasing, and pursuing that change, it's more important, and it's actually easier, to remove the obstacles that stand in the way of that change the universe is trying to serve you. And in the personal development industry, we refer to these obstacles as limiting beliefs, or as entrepreneur Nick Kuzmich would call them, the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves. Now, what are limiting beliefs? We all have these stories we tell ourselves about ourselves. They begin forming when we're young, and over time, our daily experiences shape them. For example, when you're a kid and you experience a frightening feeling, you get a frightening emotion, and it teaches you to avoid that experience in the future. You form a belief about that. The same thing goes for when you feel happiness or joy. You form a belief about those experiences as well, and you try to seek more of them. What's happening here is our brains are forming wiring. Every belief, every story we tell ourselves about ourselves derives from an experience, an emotion, or a learning. Every decision, every movement, and every action that you make is intricately tied to what you believe. Now, our belief systems, our wiring, can serve us, but they can also limit us. Here's the thing. Limiting beliefs are rooted in our biology, not just our psychology, our biology. In 1920, evolutionary psychology revealed the most powerful driver in guiding human behavior. What was it? The survival instinct. It's what has kept human beings alive for thousands of years. Our survival instinct is a mechanism which protects us from feeling danger and pain. Our survival instinct is our protector. But today, it's often mismatched with the challenges of modern life, because our survival instinct is responsible for producing one of the most powerful human emotions: fear. From the moment we were born, we are equipped with the survival instinct to respond with fear anytime we sense danger or pain. But it's not just physical pain that our survival instincts protect us from. It's also emotional pain. Failure, embarrassment, abandonment, rejection. Our survival instincts protect us from feeling those things as well. So we have this mechanism in our brain that protects us from feeling physical and emotional pain. In case you haven't made the connection yet, my twin brother, my fearful alter ego, represented significant fear and limiting beliefs. And we all have this fearful alter ego, don't we? How many of you have ever feared failing at something? I want to do a little experiment. In a moment, I'm going to ask everybody to close their eyes, and I'm going to list off some phrases, okay? I want you to keep your eyes closed, listen to those phrases, and at the end, I'm going to ask you a question. All right, ready? Eyes closed. I'm not ready. I'm not sure it's a good idea. I don't know where to start. The timing isn't right. What if it doesn't work out? What if I can't make it? What if I'm not sure how to do it? What if I embarrass myself? What if they leave me? I'm not sure I should. I'm not enough. Now keep your eyes closed. If you've ever thought something like this, or one of these specific thoughts, keep your eyes closed and raise your hand. Now keep your hands up and open your eyes. Take a quick look around. We all have that survival instinct designed to protect us. All of those thoughts are fear designed to protect you from feeling emotional pain. But what happens is, when you feed self-belief, your fear will starve. When you feed self-belief, your fear will starve. The only difference between the most successful, accomplished people on earth, people who have changed, people who have become something greater, and those who haven't done so yet, is that they've learned to overcome their fear. They've learned to overcome the limiting beliefs that hold them back. And that's the key. They feel fear too. I had the opportunity to speak with Lisa Nichols. Some of you might know Lisa Nichols from being on Oprah. She's a New York Times best-selling author, personal development thought leader, and a motivational speaker. And when asked how she was able to overcome fear, she responded, "Oh, I've never been able to overcome fear. It's a powerful force. So I just bring it with me and do the thing anyway." The universe is doing its best to bring you the change that you desire for yourself. But it's more important and it's actually easier to remove and rewire the limiting beliefs that stand in the way of that change. So how do we overcome our limiting beliefs? If you're a person who feels like you haven't quite found your path yet, or if you're a person who has goals you're holding off on pursuing, or if you're a person who wants to change, to become something greater, and you feel like limiting beliefs might be standing in the way of that change, here's a 3-step framework that anyone can implement. Ready? Step 1, disconnect. We have to disconnect the wiring or the beliefs that no longer serve us. You got to ask yourself in this step, what exactly is holding me back? Have you ever heard the phrase, don't treat the symptoms, treat the problem? We want to get to the root of the issue in this step. In this step, it helps to get outside of your environment, outside of your memorized routine. Observe your life from a new perspective. I recommend traveling if you can, but also you could just take a break from school or work and spend time trying to understand the origins of those limiting beliefs. A good therapist, a good coach, or a good friend can help you with these. Now, you have to be careful in this step because it's amazing how far the survival instinct will go to keep you safe. For me, I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I thought my fear was failure. I thought if I tried entrepreneurship, to try to start a business, and I failed, that I'd be sad. But when I started doing this work, I realized I wasn't being completely honest with myself. I learned that deep down my fear wasn't failure, but abandonment. I feared deep down that if I pursued something and failed, that no one would ever love me. So you have to dig deep here. You have to get to the root of the issue because we want to make sure that we treat the problem, not just the symptoms of the problem. Step number 2, rewire. Remember, fear is your limiting beliefs and your survival instinct designed to protect you. You have to look at it and say, thank you for trying to protect me. I understand your purpose. Then you have to choose to focus on trust instead. Every time you choose trust over fear, you're rewiring your brain. But this sounds good, Martin. What do I trust? How do we find out what to trust? I mentioned this concept of wiring. We all have these limiting beliefs, these wires in the way of all of our thoughts, and we're trying to disconnect that wiring so that we can allow the change the universe is trying to serve us in. And it can feel like when you disconnect from your limiting beliefs, there's no wiring between where you are and where you're trying to go. But there's one wire. It's like a tightrope. It's that thing the universe is trying to serve you. It's that thing that whispers to you in the night. My friend Jason Brown will call it that nudge. It's that thing we feel called to do. We all have that thing. Trust that. Trust that thing. Trust that nudge. Trust that it's being served to you for a reason. It's not nothing. It's something, and you know it is. Trust that. Trust yourself and trust that you can get better. And that leads me to step number 3. Reinforce. Reinforce your new beliefs through consistent action. When you choose trust and you step out onto that tightrope, you'll begin reinforcing it as you go. You'll form new skills, new experiences, new beliefs, and new outcomes. And that wiring will grow stronger. Remember, like I said, the universe is doing its best to serve you the change that you need, to help you become the person you want to become. So it will surround you with people, opportunities, and experiences that push you forward. And as you work hard, practice your skills, stay disciplined, you'll get better. And you'll begin to experience the change the universe is trying to serve you. When new challenges arise, you won't default back to that old programming that no longer serves you. So I'll leave you with this. Be gentle with your past self. Don't regret the limiting beliefs or the old programming that no longer serves you. My twin brother, my fearful alter ego, will always be with me. And that's okay, Because without him, I wouldn't be where I am today. So if you're a person who feels like you should change, or you want to become something greater, or maybe you feel like you haven't quite found your path, or maybe you're a person that has goals you're holding off on pursuing, remember, disconnect, rewire, reinforce. When you feed self-belief, your fear will starve, and you will change. You will become. Thank you for listening.